Jackson. Me say, come over here, so I me say you're so nice to see. I me say you're so nice, nice. It nice, can't done you. Yeah. Every week is a different interesting topic right here on Chat with the Jackson. I me say chat with the Jackson, me say chat with the Jackson. Chat with the Jackson, me say chat with the Jackson. Come on and hang out and with us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. every Tuesday night. I me say wow, yeah. Big up on yourself, I me say big up on yourself, Joe. Big up on yourself, I me say big up. Whoa, yeah.
A shout out to the Jacksons family. And I'm telling you, better days coming. So just hold on. Yeah, man. Better days coming, no need to worry. Life too short, you need to glory. Jesus Christ, me give the glory for my testimony. Better days coming, no need to worry. Life too short, you need to glory. Jesus Christ, me give the glory. I'm a testimony. Tune into the Jackson every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. US time.
Pleasant good night to everyone. Welcome to another segment of Chat with the Jacksons. We hope you all had a wonderful day. And as always, we want to say thank you for tuning in each and every Tuesday night. You have obliged us, and we don't take that for granted. We know that you could be doing so many other things, but you have graced us with your virtual presence and obliging us with your time. So sit back and chat with the Jacksons.
Pleasant good night to one and all. As my wife said, wherever you are joining us from, wherever part of the world that you are, we want to say welcome. We thank you for joining us one more week, and we trust that you might be a part of us tonight. Our phone lines are always open, and the chat is always open, and we love to hear from you. If you are joining us on YouTube, we want to welcome you. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, that's Chat with the Jacksons. We encourage you, we beg of you to go over, give a like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you are following us on TikTok, we welcome you over there, and we ask that if you get on over there, you give us a follow, and we will follow you back. If you are joining us on our radio app, and that's Zeno.fm, Chat with the Jacksons, we welcome you over there also. That's Zeno.fm, Chat with the Jacksons. And if you are joining us on Facebook, we say the good old Facebook, we welcome you also. And we just want to welcome a few of our followers before we get started, and before I tell you how elegant you're looking tonight, let's welcome Sister Beulah Dawn. Good to have you with us, Sister Dawn. Let's welcome our sister Portia Chin. Good to have you with us, Brother Delroy Henry. Good to have you, my brother. We appreciate you, Sister Alicia Lopez. Good to have you with us. We appreciate you joining us, and hopefully I don't miss no name so far. Before we get started, I just want you to know how elegant you're looking this evening, just like this morning, just like yesterday. But I think I'm just gonna have a tape recorder. I just plug it in. But I know sometimes I
And
know you love to hear it, not just write it. You like to hear it, and I might even put it in a card. I
oh,
just
that would be
love
nice.
I love the top. I love the bottom. I
Thank
love your
you.
hairstyle.
Thank you. I love your pink too, and you're
Oh,
well put together too.
thank you. And we missed your rap. I don't know.
That
When
was COVID.
well, oh,
That ain't coming back.
that's a COVID rap.
Yes.
We
That was when you couldn't go to the hairdressers.
okay, and we want to thank our engineer, Mr. Oran McKinnon, who is absent tonight. But we want to thank him for working with us. And I know. Let me talk for him. I know I'm not easy. I'm not easy to put up with. So I just want to thank him for.
You actually acknowledge that?
Well, let's say.
Wow, it's gonna snow tonight.
What I just want. I know Sister Dawn will not agree with you. But we just want to thank him and
I live with you.
and his beautiful wife, Sister McKinnon, Sister Vanessa McKinnon, and the kids for lending their husband to us. And you see, I'm obedient. Mr. McKinnon, mom says last week that I don't look like Mr. McKinnon no more because of the beard. So now I get rid of the beard. So mom is gonna say that she's gonna
No.
she's
That's
gonna
not what she
welcome.
said. That's
That's
not
what she said. That's what
He
she
doesn't
said.
have a beard.
That's what. But I did have a beard last
Yes,
week,
okay.
right? So I know she's gonna welcome me back in the family, and so forth. And as my wife would say that tonight, it's no different. We always come to you with topics that's missing um, in the church, missing in the society, missing in maybe even in the classroom. So there are times that we
Yeah,
will bring.
topics that people just don't readily talk about.
Right. And we want to welcome Sister Curly. Good to have you with us tonight, and trust that we might have a great talk tonight. And before my wife kick off the ball, we encourage you, we beg of you, we don't ask too much on this program, but all we ask is for you to share. Just hit the share button and just share for us. Sharing is caring. And the more you share, the wider this topic will get, more people will get to view it, and we will be happy if you just share. Just hit the share button for us. And just in case you go over there and they charge you to share, just send us the bill and we will take care of it. I think sharing still free. And Sister Verna Graham Robinson, good to have you with us tonight. We love and appreciate you, all of you. Now I will decrease so my wife might increase. I already done all, tell her how elegant she's looking, and her lips are matching her tops and the glasses and everything.
Stop it.
Amen. Amen.
Thank
And
you. I
and
greatly
and
appreciate it. And you're very handsome yourself.
right,
I love.
and we call out our engineer. So our engineer is with us tonight. And that is it's the McKinnon Tabajona. That's the number one engineer in the world. I don't care what nobody
yeah.
say, and
Mhm.
no matter where I go, no matter who I fight with, all of these other DJs and um, talk show hosts and so forth, my number one engineer is Tabajona McKinnon. I just love that brother,
AKA Tonto.
aka Tonto, aka Oral.
Okay.
Amen. Thank you. And I know he's saying that why you man have called my name, so He's very cool, calm. He's the opposite of me.
You think?
Yeah, he's the opposite of me. He like to work behind the scene. So when I'm vexed and calling him, but when you're good, you're good. And when you're good, me have to big you up. Let's welcome Sister Patricia McPherson. We appreciate you, Sister Patricia McPherson. And we ask that we share. We see the share button still didn't move. We ask that you share. You share the program just one time for us. And if the Lord touch you, you could share it 2 times. Okay, and our topic for tonight.
Our topic for tonight is how to deal with grief. How to deal with grief. Grief. Before I even give a definition of what grief is, let me just say that, all of us at some point have dealt with grief. The loss of someone, mostly the loss of someone, but grief, this topic is very ambiguous. So I'm gonna condense it. Maybe we'll go into a part 2 next week, but tonight we're just gonna focus on grief in the sense of the loss of someone. And grief, a brief definition rather of grief is the experience of coping with loss. And that can be accompanied, grief can accompany any event that disrupts our sense of normalcy. We have had, I think, in the past couple of months, we've had several deaths, and it's quite depressing, and it's an emotional time for the person that has lost that. It could be a mother, a father, niece, nephew, whomever it may be, but it's an emotional time. And we all deal with grief differently. And how we express grief varies as well. So I don't want to go too in depth rather with the topic without letting you maybe give a brief intro of what you think grief is.
Right. Let's welcome Sister Rosen. Sister Rosen Dawn, good to have you. And before I even say what grief is, Sister McPherson, we should first apologize. Sister Angela Gordon, good to have you with us. We should first apologize for not being on Brother Danville show on Sunday, which we called and before and let him know that we was trying, but we just couldn't make it back to be on his show. And Sister McPherson was saying that we were missed on that show. But I think we will be there this Thursday, all being well, Sister McPherson. And I was saying that maybe they don't miss us because, I say that maybe they don't. Well, we'll see what happens on Thursday. Because I think maybe our son is in town and from all the way from Singapore, so he's having us all over, pouring out in the sing. But as we said, how to deal with grief. How to deal with grief. And as you said, we might condense it tonight because this is wide. Grief could mean the loss of a job. Grief also could mean the loss of a relationship. And then that's it. If you decide to leave me, then you will see the grief. Grief.
Why is it me? I mean, it could work both ways.
Oh,
So
okay. Well, Me not gone away. So I'm
Neither
here
am
to stay.
I.
So grief could be the loss of a job. It could also be the loss of a relationship, right?
Oh, I see we did the same research.
Right. It could be of a divorce.
Hmm.
But we're gonna stick with debt. As you said,
Hmm.
we're gonna talk about
Yeah, because
debt.
it's quite ambiguous.
Right, debt
Yes.
tonight. And grief, as we say, is that we all grieve in different ways.
Grieve in different
Right, we
ways.
grieve in different ways. Grief, sometimes it's an inward thing because you might see me, but I'm hurting
Mhm.
inside. But I might show some emotion outside. You might see it on my face. You might see me crying. You might see me stressed out and so
Mhm.
forth. But
Yeah, it comes
but
in
it's
waves. Yeah.
yes, but
Mhm.
inside, I'm really, really burning up. Grief is a reflection of a connection that that has been lost. Let me say that again because I was rhyming. It's a reflection of a connection of some loss.
Mhm.
So I might lost my mom, which I did,
Mhm.
right? And I might grieve about losing my mom, which I know when I lost my mom, you also grieve,
Mhm.
but we might grieve in a different way.
Yeah.
Um, my my siblings
Mhm.
lost our mom also,
Mhm.
but maybe based on the connection between our sibling and our mom, we might grieve in different ways.
Mhm.
We are all grieving enough,
Right.
but we might grieve in different ways,
Mhm.
right? I might, my brother might have a closer connection to my mom,
Mhm.
so he might grieve a little different from me because maybe I did not have that close connection as my brother or my sister with
Mhm.
my mom.
Mhm.
So when we talk about grief, it's not just one thing. It's just a wide thing. You know, we all grieve in different ways.
Correct.
Okay, you want to
Good.
continue?
You're on a roll, Mr. Jackson.
Okay.
And yes, you're quite right in everything that you have said. Yes, we all grieve differently, and it's important to know that it's okay to grieve. You know, um, you may go to a funeral and see a loved one pouring out themselves. They're crying uncontrollably. And, somebody may say, my God, why is she crying so much? Or why is he crying so much? You don't know what that person is feeling in that moment. So, a lot of times it's not wise to even say anything to that person, because what you may say to that person may be more, um, in a sense, detrimental to what they're experiencing in that moment. You know, um, just be sympathetic to the person. You know, we may not understand how they're feeling because we may not have gone through losing someone, but something as simple as saying, I'll keep you in my prayers. I'll be here for you. That's comforting, you know, that that will leave a positive impact on that person versus you saying, "Oh my God," you know, instead of saying something that's not warranted in that moment, you know? And as my husband stated, grief comes in different aspects. And the main focus tonight is on the loss of a loved one. And sometimes some people are grieving and they're smiling from ear to ear. And, you may say that that person is insensitive, but that may be their way of expressing how they're feeling. You know, not everybody is crying and sad all the time or whatever when it comes to the loss of someone. You know, depending on how that person passed away, maybe that person was critically ill, and now that person is no longer feeling, that person has passed on, that person is no longer um, in that pain. So your sense of relief may now be, a smile on my face, but you're grieving.
Right. I agree with you because, and it it also depends. Because I'm looking back with my mom
Hmm.
because we were there with her,
Hmm.
and we see the agony, we see the pain that she was going through,
Hmm.
and she was basically saying that she's ready to go.
Hmm.
Then it might be a little different. Um, I know that maybe sometimes it's gonna really hit me
Hmm.
that I lost my mom, but I keep telling myself that she's in a better place and God take her home at the right time. Let's welcome Sister Eiley Favor Blake. We wanted to join Sister Eiley Favor every Thursday at 5 p.m. and every Monday morning. Join Sister Eiley Favor. We want you to join also Dr. Bishop Paul Bogle. Good to have you with us, Doc. Um, join Dr. Bogle and the Jamaican Gospel Show every Thursday and every Sunday from 8 until you say when. And this is Dr. Bishop Paul Bogle and Brother Danville Owell from the American Gospel Show.
And now,
This is Fitzroy Jackson
And I am Susan Jackson.
from Chat with the Jacksons, and I'm locked into the Jamaican Gospel Show with Brother Danville Hall. Keep it locked, don't touch the dial.
Okay, thanks for staying with us. And we want to welcome our Sister Andrea White. Good to have you with us. And we say hi back to you, Sister White. We love and appreciate you. We want to say, okay, Sister Isla Favor says not 5, it's 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. Join Sister Isla Favor for some the word and music and prayer. You will enjoy joining Sister Isla Favor. Let's welcome our dearly beloved brother Denrick Carter. Good to have you with us, brother Carter. We love and appreciate you. Also, we asked of you before my wife got on the floor. We asked of you to share the program. We asked of you to share the program. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, we ask that you might do so. That's Chat with the Jacksons. If you have not yet joined us over on TikTok, we ask that you go over, give us a follow. We will give you back a follow. We want to welcome Sister Rosemary Coombs McDonald. Good to have you with us tonight. And just in case you are wondering what we are talking about tonight, well, our topic for tonight is how to deal with grief, right? And I think I was saying that sometimes I ask myself, you know, why I'm handling my mom death so well, which maybe it's an inside thing. And as I said before, I think maybe it's just if I wasn't there, if I didn't get a chance, if somebody called and tell me maybe she passed, then I would say that maybe we could do this and maybe we could try that and whatever. Blame doctors and blame lawyers and blame Indian and chief. But you were there with
Right,
her,
right.
holding her hand through it all. So you realize that
Her time was
our
coming.
time, our time has come. and she have to go home to be with her maker. And she said to me, if I want to see her again, I have to treat my wife right.
I'm laughing, but you better, because she said so.
I have to treat my wife right. Treat Dr. Bishop Paul Bogle right. And do God's will. Then I'll get a chance to see her again over on the other side.
Amen. Yes. So, again, tonight's topic is how to deal with grief. And as I stated before, grief comes in waves. 1 minute you may be smiling, 1 minute you may be angry, 1 minute you may be frustrated, 1 minute you just want to be left alone. But that's all a part of the process. And there is no timeline on grieving, right? People grieve for years, people grieve for months. It depends, so there's no timeline on how I should grieve from losing someone. But with all the grieving or the process of grieving, we have to accept that our emotions are warranted. It's justified to have various emotions. And again, I will say that, you're going to have people in your circle, could be family members or friends, that just don't understand your process of grieving, right? They may trivialize it, not knowing how it's really affecting you. So it's best to surround yourself with people that are positive, that may have been in that predicament before, that could impart some type of positive words or encouragement to you as to how to handle this process. And also, it's very important to express how you're feeling. We generally tend to retreat. We tend to go into our shell, and we tend to feel like no one understands what we're really going through. But it's often best to talk about it, you know, when you're ready, that is. Don't be forced to talk about it just because someone feels that, okay, well, you're in this state too long. You should rise above it and get back to some type of normalcy. No. Pace yourself. It's your process, right? And also you could join a support group. And by doing so, you'll get to interact with other people that have gone through grief or are still grieving and can impart some type of words of wisdom, encouragement, and just be a support for each other.
Okay. Let's welcome Pastor Rodney. That's Brother Kingsley Rodney. We ask you to join Brother Kingsley every time that he's on. He's on so many times. I know he's on Sunday and a couple more days in the week. We wanted to join Brother Kingsley. We also have Brother Danville now himself. We already introduced Bishop Bogle. So we have Brother Danville himself from the American Gospel Show. And this is Brother Danville, just in case you don't know who Brother Danville is.
And now, this is Fitzroy Jackson.
And I am Susan Jackson
From Chat with the Jacksons. And I'm locked into the Jamaican Gospel Show with Brother Danville Harder. Keep it locked. Don't touch that dial.
Okay, and Brother Danville gave me another video Sunday with his bomb. I didn't get a chance to download it. I didn't remember. So we will have that that video for next Tuesday, if God says when. Brother Rodney was asking how long you think you should grieve if you lost a loved one. How should you deal with with it? Uh, Go ahead.
Well, again, I will say that, losing someone is traumatic in its sense, right? And there is the grieving process. There is, and as I stated before, there's no timeline on grieving.
Hmm.
You know, you go through different stages, different emotions. Um, as I stated before, you can be happy one minute, you can be sad the next, the next minute you can be blaming. It comes with different emotions. So there's no
You can't put a time on it
right, yeah,
because, as you said, grieving. You have good days and
right.
you're gonna have bad days. And
Hmm.
today you might think that you're coming along, but
Hmm.
tomorrow
Right.
you step back.
Hmm.
So and also with grieving, I think that we have to be very careful.
Hmm.
When somebody's grieving, even what we say to them,
Right,
we
yes.
have to be
Hmm.
careful of the words that we use.
Right.
We cannot come and say, I just lost my mom, and you tell me it's gonna be all right, Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Eh,
and
you know,
that's a good point. That's a good point because sometimes, you hear people say, and I guess it's, I don't want to say routine, but it's often it's used a lot. When somebody passes away, that's the first thing somebody wants to say to you. That's not what you want to hear in that moment, because they don't know the what you're really feeling inside. There's no one size fit all um when it comes to grieving,
right.
right? So I would say, in my opinion, the best thing to say to a person that has lost someone is, I'll keep you in my prayers. You're in my prayers,
Right.
right? And then, yeah, instead
Yes.
of saying, oh, and another interesting one that a lot of people tend to say is, I know how you're feeling.
Mhm.
When you have no clue as to how that person is feeling, because a lot of times you may not have gone through, you may not have lost anyone, so you cannot know how I'm feeling, right? You may be sympathetic to how I'm feeling, but you don't necessarily know how I'm really feeling.
Right, because the brother Danville, um, he said he had lost his mom for over 10 years, and still have those moments
Yeah,
when you go back.
yeah.
And I think maybe for 20, 30, 40 years, I will always have those moments um, with
Hmm.
when it comes down to my mom.
Right.
But Bishop Bogle said it depends on the person healing process. So all of us heal
Hmm.
different.
Right.
So you can't come and tell me, say, well, listen, man, when I lost my mom, it take me 3 years and to get over it. Why you just gone,
Hmm.
5, 6, 7 years, and every day, man, is still just
Yeah, some people are just
grieving.
insensitive to, how you're feeling.
Yeah. And Sister Eiley Flavor said, and this is so true. She said, everyone grieve differently,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
everyone grieve differently. So sometimes, as you said before, what we need to do, sometimes we don't even need to say nothing.
Right. Right.
You can give that
Exactly.
person a hug. We can just pray for we don't have to, if we don't
Hmm.
have the right words,
Yeah.
because
Just
sometimes we don't.
yeah. That's true.
Sometimes you don't have the right words. If you just give that person a hug, you pray for the person, you tell them you'll
Hmm.
keep them in prayer.
Or I'll be there for you if you need me.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um.
Let's welcome before you, Sister Humble Godchild. Good to have you, Brother Busha. Um, Ari, good to have you with us tonight. And if you're just joining us, we ask that you share the program as you come on. We ask that you share the program. And if you're wondering what we are talking about tonight, it's how to deal with grief. But we're just sticking tonight with the family. Next week, now we're gonna talk about, if God allow us, we're gonna talk about, grief that when your wife really walk out, leave you, and that's not really the problem in the bishop. She take everything, she empty the house, right? You come in and you call the dog, Spot, and the son go to the kitchen door and come back, all the furniture, everything gone. So maybe that's really the grief. So we'll talk about that part of the grief next week. But today we're talking about losing a loved one. Um, losing a loved one.
Oh my gosh. But just to touch a few of the comments, Mr. Carter said, you can be grieving without even realizing.
Mm, that's a
You know?
powerful one.
Yeah, and that's so true,
That's
you
a
know?
that's a powerful one.
Hmm.
So that's why sometimes you have to really know your partner.
Yeah, and be
'Cause
sensitive
your
to.
partner might be grieving and you're there, just a bash him. Man, you just so sink down in the bed and you want to come out of the bed, but he's grieving you.
Hmm.
And because you don't even understand what's going on,
Hmm.
then you just keep bashing him. Sister Humble Godchild says, a good, very good point here. She said, according to the relationship they have with their mother, it's how they're going to grieve. And
Mm.
that's a good point. It depends. Sometimes some people lost their mom or their dad. You wonder if they're happy, they're glad that their parents passed on. So
Hmm.
it all depends on the relationship, how they share, the relationship
Right.
they have
With that,
with
yeah.
that with a mother or grandmother.
Or a child, losing a
Hmm.
child. Um, oh, and as we talk about losing a child, you have some people also being insensitive. Again, another thing that they may say to you. So, are you going to try for another one? When are you going to have another one? Instead of,
Mm.
showing empathy for the fact that I just lost a child, I may not be able to have another child, right? So again, we have to be tactful in what we say to a person that's grieving when it comes to losing a child.
Right. Before you go to a child, Mr. Carter said, whenever a person is grieving, please, and he said, please 3 times. I put 2 more on it. It said, please do not ask the person personal questions.
Like, how did he die?
Like,
you know?
when was the last time he went to the doctor? How old was the person? Well,
Yeah.
was he vomiting and all these things and
Hmm.
whatever?
Yeah.
We don't want to hear that. No,
Yeah. That's not relevant.
that have nothing to do with you either.
That's
Um,
exactly.
it's Sister
Don't pry
Verna.
into the person's personal, life. I just lost a mother or a father, a brother, sister, whomever.
Mhm.
And those are the first things that you think to ask me? Okay.
Sister Verna said, grieving is very hard to deal with. Sometimes people take grieving like a heavy burden.
Hmm.
It's just weighing you down.
And
It's
Sister Patricia says, when I lost my mom over 20 years now, that pain still is there. Sometimes I sit down and remember, or you want to share some moments to your mom. And that is so true because, if that person was your confidant, um, especially your mom, there are certain things that we confide in our moms, and certain things that we want to share, life experiences, life accomplishments, and all of those things. And when you don't have that, or you no longer have that person, it's quite, it's very sad, so we just have to be reminded that when we lose someone, we still have the good parts of what we shared with that person with us. But in as much as we do have those good times or those good experiences, we would want that person to still be in the physical, right? And but that person is no longer here. So we just have to um, not lose ourselves. That's one of the points in my notes. We have to take care of ourselves and not lose ourselves to the point where we now get sick, because that happens. Um, you're in such a state of grief that you cannot function. Your job is in jeopardy. You're so withdrawn. Um, Life as you know it pretty much, in a sense, is non existent. So that's why it's important to seek professional help, um, and be patient with yourself.
Right.
Be patient with yourself. Don't say, well, okay, um, I'm feeling this way. I need to get over it, because this one is expecting this of me. That one is expect. No, it's all about you, right? You have to be good with yourself emotionally, physically, before you can be good to someone else.
Oh, okay. I see. Before some comments slipping away, when Sister Verna says that sometimes grief. Um, okay, let me go back here. They say, what's it? The Evan burden.
Yeah.
Okay, grief is very hard to deal with. Sometimes people take grief like a heavy burden. What I
Mhm.
understand, Mr. Carter want her to expound on that. But what I get from that is that, as we said before, it depends on some of us take grief in a light way. We all deal with
Mhm.
it different.
Right.
Some
And
take it as a
that's
real heavy, which it really is, a
mhm.
heavy burden. So, I might, and depends on the relationship we said earlier with
Mhm.
the person. So I might take it so hard,
Mhm.
like it's weighing me down. And
Mhm.
sometimes I have to be very careful too because I might even send myself in depression
Right.
because I
Yeah.
take it real hard. That's the
Mhm.
understanding I was getting from her, brother Carter. Let's welcome our dearly beloved Sister Elaine Fletcher. Good to have you with us. Let's welcome brother Derek McFarlane, and we wanted to join brother Derek every Wednesday on Chill and Chat on YouTube, and that will be 7 p.m. Jamaican time, 8 p.m. American time. Join brother Derek McFarlane as he come to us with interviews with gospel artists and such the like.
And we also want to welcome Sister Jennifer Campbell.
Sister Jennifer Campbell, good to have you. Sister Jennifer Campbell and I've been going around to so many sites. Almost every site I go and I see Sister Campbell, and I appreciate that about her. She spread her love around
Mhm.
to so many different sites, and I don't think I should start saying that because there are so many people also um
That do
sister,
the same.
yeah, that do the same. So I don't know what okay, Sister Rosie says the other,
Let me see.
she says
Let me
something
go
about
back up.
humble God child right here.
Okay, wait. Let me see.
She said humble God child made a valid point. Living with the person and seeing all that they went through, you might grieve differently from others,
Yeah,
right?
and that is true. The key thing that we want, our audience to take away from tonight, from this topic, is that when it comes to grieving, we all grieve differently. Um, and there's no timeline on grieving. But in as much as we're grieving, um, we should not allow ourselves to get to the point where we fall into such deep depression. And yes, that do often happens. And that's why we, would encourage anyone that has gotten to that point to seek professional help, right? And yes, by seeking help, that that doesn't make you less of a person. In fact, it's making you a better person because you're getting resources, um, counseling on how to, cope with grieving.
Mhm.
Um, and as I said before, also join a support group because by doing so, you're going to be in the company of other people that are experiencing the same thing that you are. And you'll be able to um, speak about what you're feeling as well as hear what other people are feeling.
Right. And Sister Patricia, it says, to see my mama, she used to sit with her mom, and the mom used to show her love and so much affection and so forth. And the mom was there going through the struggles with them. And she would love now that her mom would be here to
Mm-hmm.
see that now she passed the verse and come out um, really doing good. That mom would really want to sit back and see that and say,
Right,
"There
right.
goes my child."
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good point because I miss that with my parents also.
Mm-hmm.
I you know miss that they didn't get a chance to see the fool that I become.
Stop it.
you know
No,
um
don't use those words.
yeah, that just there are times that because I could feel exactly what Sister McPherson is saying because I know my mom's struggle. My
Mm-hmm.
mom and I see Sister Rosemary McDonald and my mom. They both moms work together, and
Mm-hmm.
we struggle through. And now we'd want to go Jamaica and tell mom, let's pack your bag, let's go to the hotel, let's kick out your foot on the beach and kick, kick out your foot on the beach and so forth. And she's not there, so I understand exactly what Sister McPherson is
Mm-hmm.
saying.
Yeah, so we just have to, be there for the person, if it's just even making a meal,
Hmm.
help with laundry, um, even go for a walk. You don't necessarily have to have a conversation. Just go for a walk with the person, you know, just being there in the physical um, would be so rewarding for that person. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be at the person's house to have a long, drawn out conversation. No, a lot of times people are grieving, they don't want to talk about anything. They want to be left alone. Um, but in as much as that person want to be left alone, in their subconscious, they crave for somebody to be there, to be in their home, um, just to be there.
Right, and you just make yourself available.
Right,
Make
right.
yourself available because, as Mr. Carter said, spending quality time with that person would mean so much because at that moment,
Mm-hmm.
memories, become memories, and whether
Mm-hmm.
good or bad,
Mm-hmm.
guys, please make it be good memories.
Mm-hmm.
Just not go there and start because you're sitting with the person staying overnight and you just
Mm-hmm.
start to talk about. And you remember when Auntie Jayla went dead?
Mm-hmm.
Auntie Jayla, you remember when who went dead? Let's make
Mm-hmm.
some good memories and
Mm-hmm.
be positive and try to uplift the person instead of sink the person deeper.
Right. And I'm glad that Mr. Carter said that, because oftentimes you go to funerals and you may hear um people say, I wish I had a little bit more time to do this and a little bit more time to do that with this one or that one. And life is short, you know, and it seemed like life is getting shorter and shorter.
Go ahead.
And we have to take the time out to spend quality time with our loved ones, right? um don't keep making promises and not fulfilling them, you know. Sometimes you hear somebody say, well, I was supposed to go see that person last week or a month ago, but I never got the opportunity to. And then now you're dealing with that guilt of not going to see that person, you
Uh,
know.
okay, I don't want to cut you though, but I see our sister Karen Harris Redmond is on too, and my mom and her mom all also work together.
Mhm.
So good to have you with us, Sister Karen. Um, I know. I'm not sure if it's her birthday sometime this week, last week, or our anniversary. But whatever it is, we are celebrating with you, Sister Karen.
Yes, and as Mr. Carter said, the little things do matter, which is so true. Don't wait for, um, oh, we're going to go on vacation next year, or we're going to do this next week. Do it in the moment, because you may not have tomorrow to do it. Make
Hmm.
that phone call today. These are the things that we have to take into consideration, and not having those type of regrets when the person passes away.
Exactly. Sister Humble Godchild said, I lost a church sister that was very, very close to me. And at times I will just sit and just cry at times like she just died.
Mhm.
And that's how I feel sometimes, Sister Humble Godchild, with my mom. Sometimes I don't really cry, and I don't cry yet. And one day
I
I just I
know.
go bawl. And
I
you
know.
gotta come in the room and say, what happened to you? What trouble you?
I keep asking you when you're
And
gonna cry.
yeah. And maybe that's why I don't cry yet, because every day you come and ask me, okay, if you wanna cry, cry, you know. You know,
Yes, I mean, well, that's a story for another time.
okay. I don't know if it's just Sister Jennifer. She says she's not getting any sound at all.
Are you guys hearing us clearly?
Sister Jennifer says she's not getting no sound. No sound, no sound, no sound. Can you hear us? Well, it always touch you. But oh, internet problem. I guess
Oh, okay. On her
maybe it's
end.
her, right? Because I know my engineer would send me a message a long time.
Hmm. So yeah, and we're living in a time that, each and every day you're getting a phone call. So and so passed away, and so, for the past, I would say, 2 months, the amount of phone calls that I've gotten about either a classmate or a teacher um, that has passed away, a family member that has passed away. You know, it's it can be very emotional. It is very emotional. You know, and to add to the fact that we're living in a time that is very uncertain. We're living in very trying times. Um, that also adds to it. So we have to try to keep our mental state um, intact as best as possible. And there's nothing wrong with seeking help. We often, at times, um, put our mental state, push it back to the on the back burner, because we have to focus on this, we have to focus on that. And if we're not taking care of ourselves, we can't take care of anybody else or anything, so we have to make ourselves a priority, right? Take care of yourself, go to the doctors, don't push things to the side and say, oh, I'll deal with that tomorrow. Oh, or I'll deal with that next week. Deal with it now.
Okay, let me ask you. Let's welcome Brother Tony Rattigan. Good to have you. Sister, two things come to mind. Sister Humble Godchild says that, yes, my son will ask me. That's when she is grieving over church sister, and her son will ask her what happened when she's crying, and she said that I have to hide from my son. Do you? Well, let me go before,
Okay.
because I think grief. You see, grief should just be open, right? And you should sometimes allow your kids to see you grieving.
Yeah. And explain to
And
them.
right, and
why.
even when your husband, because that's what I appreciate about you also. When my mom died, you know, you will remind me that, listen, not because you're a man. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to holla, holla, and if you want to bawl, bawl. Right? And you keep reminding me. So I just think that, not because if you are grieving over a special person, and your son come, let him see you crying.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And explain to him why you're crying,
Mhm.
and you'd be surprised what he would have to say to you. A lot of times we tend to think that we're sheltering our children from what's going on in our lives or what's going on in society, but we have to explain to them on their level, depending on the age of that child, how we're feeling. And yeah, ask them in turn, how would they feel about, you know, losing someone? You'd be
Okay.
very surprised what your
Mhm.
child will say to you.
Okay. There's a conversation going on, and I want to get involved in it. Um, which it's going on about grieving, and it was like guilt. Some
Mhm.
people, um, I think we said it earlier. Some people would
Mhm.
just get up and say them a grieve, and them a bawl, and them a holler,
Mhm.
because they just didn't do much for their parents,
Mhm.
and even maybe they're supposed to go see them, and then say, you know what, we're not going,
Mhm.
I can't afford to. But after they die, then you have to find that fear.
Mhm.
So sometimes it happens, and you feel guilty within yourself.
Mhm.
Sister Elaine said, I really do not endorse that grieving is because of guilt. I grieve my mom death, and
And we did spend.
we did spend some quality time together. We have some very good memories together.
Mhm.
Now, well, we could understand that, but the question, Sister Elaine, what if you, what if the moment that you spend with your mom was few and far, and it's just because of your fault?
Well, that's something that, eventually you're going to have to come to terms with. And the thing is, what you have to bear in mind is that you cannot live the rest of your life carrying that guilt. You have to, at some point, accept the fact that, you know, enough time wasn't spent with that loved one and they have now transitioned, and make peace with yourself with that.
But
Because the thing about it too, you carry that guilt on, it's going to affect you psychologically, it's going to affect you emotionally, it's going to affect every aspect of your life,
all of the alleys.
right? So in that case, that's where, professional help comes into play. You have to reach out to a professional to assist you with helping how to cope with that, right?
Okay.
And bear in mind that that parent would not want you to be in that emotional state day in and day out because it's not going to be healthy for you.
Right. Then let's welcome Mr. Lennox Anglin, and he said, "Good night, Mrs. Jackson and Mr. Jackson,"
Good night,
which should
sir.
be the other way around. It should
Leave
be
him alone.
Mr. Jackson and Mrs. Jackson,
Why?
and all those who are on live. Mr. Lennox Angler from Upliftment Blocks and Construction, Grill and Metal Fencing, Real Estate. He will put tenants in and he will take tenants out. I love that one when they say that. I put them in and I take them out. They don't pay, I take them out. Let's welcome our daily builder of Brother David. Was waiting to see Brother David. And before you get back on, Sister Carrie Miller, good to have you with us tonight, Sister Carrie. And Sister, I don't know if you finished with your point.
Hmm.
Okay, Sister Humble Godchild said, "Brother Jackson, my son just don't want to see me cry, just like how he don't want me to be sick." Wow, that's a nice son. When my mother died, he hugged me up and tell me she is in heaven and she is okay watching over you.
And
That's what you want to hear.
right. And we underestimate children. We think that they don't understand,
Mhm.
when in fact they if you were to pick their brain, they understand a lot of what has happened or is happening.
Right.
And yeah, maybe that should be an opening where you should have a conversation with him about death.
Yeah.
How does he perceive death? What does death means to him? And yeah, take
And
it from there.
and I see Pastor David Gallimore following Mr. Anglin. He said, "Good night, First Lady and Sir
What's
Jackson."
wrong with you?
And Sir Jackson. Yeah. Okay. And I was on live with Brother Gallimore, I think 2 nights ago.
Mhm.
And it's me. You say I don't come to my bed early. Brother Gallimore hold me until after 12 on live.
Mhm.
And I was having a good message. And I keep saying to Brother Gallimore, he need to start a live, and every time he's on and I get a chance to be with him,
Mhm.
then he always uplift me.
Mhm.
And we want to also Brother Gallimore have his little restauranting building,
Mhm.
and we want to support Brother Gallimore. I was close to him yesterday. I was about to call and order my lunch. I was close, like I was by your office.
Mhm.
You don't tell the audience I make homemade juice for you and take it to your office and wait 45 minutes. They're like we're just meeting for the first time.
I was in a meeting,
Uh-uh.
and I came out of this meeting seeing all these. We're diverting a bit, seeing that you brought it up. All these missed calls. My emotional state kind of got elevated, only to realize he's downstairs. Brought me homemade juice, which
Brother
I
Gallimore, I
appreciate.
made homemade what is it? June plum and pineapple. And put a little ginger.
Oh, and I must give credit to Freddie because he bought the June plums for me.
Oh, I pay him for them though. I'm joking. Let's
Thank you,
welcome
Freddie.
let's welcome the brother World Changer, Brother God Garrick. And if you don't know who Brother God Garrick is, that's Dr. Keisa Peart, husband and manager. Join Brother Gart every Sunday from 8 until 10 p.m. Brother God Garrick. will be live over there. Join him on YouTube and on Facebook. And I have to give Brother Gart a plug. Also, Brother Gart is the one who introduced us to our engineer.
Yes, I remember.
And Brother Gart keep fighting, so I take him from him. Okay. But also with grief, when you're dealing, just in case you're just joining us and you're wondering what we are talking about tonight, we are talking about how to deal with grief. You know, and when we're dealing with grief, well, I don't know, when we're dealing with grief, make sure with because sometimes we are grieving, and that's the time that we want to make a fuss about who is gonna get what. You can't, your mother or your father
Yeah,
or your brother or
that's
your sister, not even in the old yet. And who is fussing about? No, 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 no. Me, I take the paint off of the wall. They did promise me
you
the
know, I'm
paint.
laughing, but it's not funny
I'm
at
getting
all.
3
It's
sheets of
not.
that zinc.
Yeah, that comes into play
Right.
quite often, more often than
Yes.
you would think. Instead of focusing on, I've just lost
Mm-hmm.
a mother or a father, whomever it is, you have other people that are thinking about what they can gain from this person's death, which oftentimes that's not relevant.
Exactly.
Because a lot of times you weren't there for the person when the person was alive.
Exactly.
So why now are you seeking compensation or whatever it is, monetary or land, or whatever it is, now that the person has transitioned? The focus should be on this person has now transitioned,
Mhm.
and my emotional state, it's wreaking havoc on me. So let me grieve versus having to go through this battle with a brother or a sister or whomever it be about what it is that they want to gain from this person's passing.
Exactly. And Brother Gallimore said, "Well, I just lost one of my aunt yesterday, and I am, it's gone. And
And
I
I'm
am,
I'm the one to give comfort. Oh, our
oh,
condolences to you.
wow.
Yes.
Let's welcome Brother Delroy Henry. Good to have you with us. Let's welcome Brother Nathan Seymour. Good to have
Hi.
you, my brother. And
Long
Sister
time.
Tashi Grant. Good to have you with us. If it's your first time, we said welcome, and hope that it won't be your last time. Okay. So then also, when we dealing with grief, we want to know if we are dealing with a child or an adult,
Well,
because sometimes, when dealing with a child, we just have to be straightforward with them in the sense according to their age and knowledge.
Oh,
And
okay, I get what you're saying. Like explaining it to,
yes,
a person has passed away, and how do you explain it to a child?
that's my point.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. And again,
And you can't just come flash it on them like just like
no,
that.
you have
take
to be
time.
very sensitive to their age, because they may not be at an age where you can explain what death is.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're at an age, you're going to break it down to their level,
Yeah.
their age level.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yes. They have to read. Okay.
So again, just to recap, the definition of grief is the experience of coping with loss, and grief disrupts your sense of normalcy. Um, Grief comes in waves. 1 minute you're happy, One minute you're sad, one minute you're angry. You express different emotions, and some of the ways of dealing with grief is you know seeking professional help, joining a support group, um, accepting your emotions. Your emotions are justified. um, you have to block out the external noise. And what do I mean by that? People are going to come to you and tell you how to grieve, right?
Mm.
And really and truly, no one should tell you how to grieve. Grief comes in many ways. There's no timeline on grief. Um, and in so doing, you also have to take care of yourself, right? You cannot allow grief to consume it to the point where you start to deteriorate, because that person that you're grieving would not want you to get to that point, right? They would want you to live, they would want you to cherish their memories, no matter how they passed away, whether that person was sick, whether that person died tragically, however that person died. Um, you know, the important thing is to cherish the memories that you had with that person, right? And also, one very important thing, um, try to avoid making major decisions while you're grieving, such as moving or changing jobs. That may be something that you'd want to consider, because you don't want to be in the same city where that person passed. You may think, okay, if I move away and have a new start, maybe I won't think of that person as much. But give yourself time, give yourself grace to process um, the death of that loved one. And then eventually, if it really is feasible for you to move or change job, then do so. But don't do so in the spur of the moment while you're fresh in that state, you know? And above all, pray about the whole process. We have to continue to maintain being prayerful in as much as we're grieving, because at times we tend to want to shut out God. We want to question God, and yes, that's only because of our human tendencies. But at the end of the day, He took that person for a reason, no matter if it was through sickness, like I said, or if that person just died suddenly, or that person died tragically. Um, you know, it's not wise to question why that person was taken away from us. But as human beings, we do tend to do that.
Mm-hmm. That is so true, because in grief also, it can confuse you. As you were talking, I was thinking along the line about making these decisions. Sometimes we just grieve that our mind is not steady to give back too much money, paying a bill, then your mind is not there. So I agree with you, when you're making certain decisions, then you hold back on those major decisions that you're making, because um, grief also, that we have to understand, there are grief also, there are times that you want to sleep and you can't sleep,
Right.
and there are times that you go sleep when you shouldn't sleep.
Right.
So grief does have you all over the place.
Your mental state is
It's
all
not-
topsy turvy.
Right, it's just not there. Let's welcome Sister Dawn Rottigan Howell. Good to have you with us tonight. My sister, Brother Jerry Johnson, good to have you with us tonight. And any closing
Um,
When next week we'll be back, and I agree with you, Sister Elaine says that I agree with you, Sister Jackson. Um, I grieve. What it's gone. I grieve and pray when my mother passed. Grieving can be very stressful, Sister Humble God Child. Yes, when you
mhm,
grieve, it can be very, very stressful. So try to stay away from making all these decisions. And remember, grief, when you're grieving, it's a personal thing.
mhm,
You know, too much time people want to tell you how to grieve, when to grieve, stop grieving now. It's just a personal thing, just a personal connection you might have with that loved one,
mhm,
and that loved one passed on. Because it might be a relationship that you're in for, I know some people married for 50 years and so, and
mhm.
then one person might pass away. It might be very, very hard,
Yeah,
you
it
know.
is very, very hard. It's not
It's,
might. It
it,
is,
it is
you
very
know.
hard.
So, as we touched on grief, as it pertains to losing a loved one, next week we're going to continue the topic as it pertains to a divorce because
Hmm.
grieving, is involved with that.
Yeah.
Um, there
Hmm.
are other points, grieving the loss of a home, the loss of, a job. There's
Hmm.
so many different components of grief.
And then we're gonna next week we're gonna grieve about these people that we like, and then we're also gonna talk about the grief and the one that you don't like, and the one that you dislike, and the grief for the one that you hate.
Oh,
So
my
so it's
goodness.
gonna be different type of grieving.
Yeah, so
So
yeah.
if you want to know what type of grief I'm gonna grieve for my wife, then you
Come
could
on
join
back
us.
next week, Tuesday. I want to
whether
hear too.
whether whether it's a love grief, whether it's a like grief, whether it's a dislike grief, whether it's a hate grief. Uh, uh, uh.
I'll
and
be
and
front
then and then
row.
yeah, and then we have like different types of grief, and also in the sense that the way that I might grieve for my wife, um,
Mhm,
I might have a favorite singer that died, and I
mhm,
might grieve another way for that singer.
mhm,
I might have my friend that died,
mhm.
and I'll grieve different from my friend, and I'll grieve from my singer. So we will talk
Right.
about different types of grieving next week.
Sister Fletcher say, yes, Lord.
come back, come back, Sister Fletcher. It might not be number one. It might not be number two. Let's see if it's eight. If it's eight or dislike. Let's see which one of the grief I'm gonna grieve for my wife next week. But you wanna
Oh,
tell me which one you're gonna grieve for me, or you gonna come back to here?
yeah, you have to come back to here.
Oh Lord, so stay tuned. Lord of
But
mercy.
yes, we just have to, keep each other in your prayers, as we're all going through stuff. It may not be the loss of someone, but it may be so many other things that's going on. And again, like I stated before, you know our mental state is in turmoil. No matter, sometimes you may see a person smiling so much, or you think that that person have it all together, but you never know what's going on the inside. So be tactful in what you say to a person, and yeah, just be gentle with each other as best as possible. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Just pray.
Just pray
Just
for
pray.
that person.
Amen.
Yeah, and
Amen. As and before you go, if you have not yet shared the program, we ask that you share it one more time before you go. And we're gonna let Sister Jennifer Campbell take us out. So just in case you're wondering who is Sister Jennifer Campbell, Sister Jennifer Campbell is a gospel artist from out of St. Catherine, Jamaica, and she's kicking up the storm. And so until we talk again, my name remain Fitzroy Jackson,
And I'm Susan Jackson,
and we are Chat with the Jackson. We said peace out. We love you, but God love you best. Good night. Thanks for staying with us.
Jesus, you brought me from a mighty long way. Deliver me, oh Lord, it's a mighty long way. Straighten my feet, dear Lord, on this Christian pathway. Cover me under your blood and set me free. Mighty long way, oh Lord, it's a mighty long way. Oh yes, mighty long way, Lord, mighty long way. Jesus, you brought me from a mighty long way. Jesus, you covered me from a mighty long way. Look where you brought me from, a mighty long way. I'm pressing my way through straight and narrow way. I'm shouting and singing on the King's highway. To reach that place, to get the skies on my crown. Mighty long way, oh Lord, it's a mighty long way. Oh yes, mighty long way, Lord, mighty long way. Jesus, you brought me from a mighty long way. Jesus, you covered me from a mighty long way. Look where you brought me from, a mighty long way. Determination and frustration, perilous time we are living in. No tribulation, a lot of temptation. Look where you brought me from, a mighty long way. Oh yes, mighty long way, Lord, mighty long way. Jesus, you brought me from a mighty long way. Jesus, you covered me from a mighty long way. Look where you brought me from, a mighty long way. Hey, mighty long way, Lord, mighty long way. Jesus, you brought me from a mighty long way. Jesus, you covered me from a mighty long way. Look where you brought me from, a mighty long way. Look where you brought me from, a mighty long way. Look where you brought me from, a mighty long way. Look where you brought me from, a mighty long way. Look where you brought me from, a mighty long way. When it's down in the valley of despair, cry unto God, the one who cares and always there. When situations weigh you down and it seems you all alone, Jesus, you're more than enough to see me through. Set me free, dear Lord, when I cry unto you. Set me free, dear Lord, deliver me. I plead, I'm praying to you to set me free. I'm crying to you to deliver me. Set me free, deliver me. Please answer me. Answer me. are more than enough to set me free. Thank you, Jesus. You are more than enough to deliver me. When I groan in my complaint, and my heart is sore with pain, Jesus, you're more than enough to see me through. Set me free, dear Lord, when I cry unto you. Set me free, dear Lord, deliver me, I plead. I'm praying to you to set me free. I'm crying to you to deliver me. Set me free, deliver me. Please answer me. Answer me. Set me free, dear Lord. When I cry unto you. Set me free, dear Lord, deliver me, I plead. I'm praying to you to set me free. I'm crying to you to deliver me. Set me free, deliver me. Please answer me.